All right, y'all, I'm on the road. so bear with me. So this conversation is about do we as women, black women in particular is who I'm speaking of because I'm a black woman. Do we demasculate our men? Do we allow our men do we demasculate our men? Do we allow our men to be men? Do we allow the men in our lives to be the head of the house? I wanted to talk about that because I have, I don't know, I was just kind of thinking about that because going back to this whole relationship thing and why people feel like there's not any hope for black relationships, pretty much, black love. Are we allowing the men to be the head of the house? I can tell you from my experience that I understand a lot of women being reluctant to do that. A lot of times, especially if you've been single, or if you've ever been single in a situation to where you had to manage your entire life, meaning if you have kids, you're the one rearing the kids, you're the one making sure all the bills get paid. You know, you are the head of your household. So if you've been in that situation, it is difficult to allow a man to come in and kind of take over that role. Women have to feel like they can trust you to handle the things the way they were able to handle them. And not saying necessarily it has to be the same way, but it has to be, they have to feel confident that you're that you're going to handle things. That you're not going to let things get worse than what it was when they were handling it themselves. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. I don't think that women are opposed to allowing a man to lead the household. I believe most women want that, desire that, because it gives them a chance to, as they say, live the soft life. So I think women are wanting that in relationships, but at the same token, it's difficult to find that because a lot of men don't even know how to head a household. That's the thing that a lot of women have to realize is that, and this is not a shot at men or meant to be another way to keep us from, being able to be in relationships. It's just, this is something that you may have to work on. If this is someone that you care about, this is someone that you want to be with, then that may be something that you guys have to work on together. Like, a lot of men, unfortunately, and this is the thing for me that has caused so many problems in our community, is that a lot of men didn't grow up with a man in the household. Like, they grew up with single moms, a lot of men. And so when you're dealing with a man that has only been in the house with the mom, then he may not be as strong in his leadership abilities as he could be or as he wants to be. And it's not that he can't be that, it's that maybe he's never had the opportunity, in the sense that a lot of times going into now I'm not saying, and I'm saying sometimes, this is not all the time, but in some cases it may be that maybe the guy didn't have the opportunity, or he's never been in a position to where he was the head of the household, and so he don't really know how to do that. Okay, I've got, I came home because I got to pee, y'all. And then I got to run to the store. So, hold on. I know that did that sound bad to tell y'all that? Well, child, everybody have to pee sometime. So, I have to use the restroom. And so, I'm going to hop off real quick. Lord, where my keys at? Run in here and use the potty. And then we're going to finish this conversation. Ooh. Okay, Lord have mercy. When I tell y'all that was your girl done tried to that was a hot mess. I was sitting on my keys. I'm sitting here going through this purse, and I'm like, Lord, I'm thinking all kind of things like, Lord, did my mama get out the car with my keys? But I'm like, no, my car should have warned me. If she had, honey, I was thinking all kind of craziness. Woo. And then I kept feeling underneath myself. And every time I would reach under myself, I kept hearing what I thought was jingling. So I'm like, is that the keys? Child, I lift up, and it was the keys. Child, your girl had a close call.
Good. But I want 1/10 of the treasure,
Oops.
if you find it. The boy laughed out of...
I'm listening to The Alchemist. That's the book that I am reading, well, listening to now on audio. But hold on, let me pull out just in case. I don't want y'all to be seeing nothing about where I live. Hold on. No. Okay. But where I left off was, wait a minute, let me turn this air off because I know it's a distraction. It's a distraction. Okay. But yeah, so a lot of, men did not grow up in a house where they had a male father figure or even a positive male father figure. And it's unfortunate for those, for men like that, because they really have to be intentional about everything they do in terms of a relationship, because they can't because they don't really have that blueprint, and I think that there are some good guys in those situations, but it depends on the guy as to whether or not he wants to do better or be the man that he wish he would have had in his life or whatever, that type of thing, because that's really what it is. A lot of times they just want what they didn't have. They want that. Like, I didn't grow up with a positive male influence, so I want to be that, is kind of what I'm saying. And so a lot of those men do tend to become that. So it's like, because of that, you do, and that's why it's called building, because all of that is part of building. That person, you have to imagine when you get in a relationship with somebody, y'all are two individuals that have their own way of thinking, their own way of doing things, all of that. And you're trying to bring those two together. And so you have to look at it as in, you got faults, because as a woman that's independent, myself, I've always been an independent type female. So even when I wasn't in a relationship, I maintained my lifestyle and my life the way I wanted it, because that was who I was. Like who I am, because my mom's that way. So I grew up under a strong mom, a strong female, and so it made me a strong female. And so I had faults in that I felt like I knew everything. When me and my husband got together, I felt like I knew everything, and and I wanted things to stay the way I was used to them being, because that was just my personality, because of growing up with a strong mom. But you have to bend some. You have to be flexible, just like how jobs say you got to be flexible. You got to be flexible in a relationship as well. Because if you're not willing to bend at all, then how are you expecting the relationship to work? Because that person's going to have to bend, so you're going to have to bend as well. Now, I'm not saying that you have to, throw away your morals and your values and all that stuff. If you feel like, okay, my standard is that I want the man to maintain the exterior of the home and I maintain the interior. There's nothing wrong with feeling that way. There's nothing wrong with that, or that being the expectation. But there may be times that you have to bend and you have to get out there and do some exterior stuff. And times that he may have to bend and do some interior stuff. So that's what I mean. There's going to be, if you want a successful relationship, there's going to be compromises. It has to be compromises or it's not going to work. Like, you can't go into the relationship and saying that you're going to do this and you're going to do that and it's never going to, and this is just how it's going to be, unless you willing to hold up to your end of the bargain too. Because when you start speaking like that, then that means, okay, if there's not going to be any bending and you expecting me to do all of this no matter what, blah, 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 then I expect you to cook and keep the house clean and everything, all the time, whatever. But and that's not realistic, because, honey, it's times I don't want to cook. It's times I don't want to clean up. I'm just saying, it's reality. It's life. So you have to be willing to work together. If you want a man should be the head of the household. I agree. He should be the one heading up everything. He's supposed to be the leader. He's supposed to be the teacher. All of those things are responsibilities of a man. But in order for him to do it, you have to give him the space to do it. Like, if you can't be one of those women where, okay, I don't like how you doing it, so now I'm gonna overstep you all the time, or try to outshine you all the time, make it look like you or whatever. You can't do that, because it's either you're gonna let him do it or you're not. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of men feel like women challenge their masculinity, and so that's what makes them fall back and not even want to be with you or to even try, because they feel like every time I try, she's gotta degrade me, or she's gotta downplay what I'm doing or whatever. Sometimes you gotta give them the space to make a mistake. If that's what it's going to be, give them the space to make the mistake and let them learn from their mistake. As long as it's not anything detrimental, allow that, because that's part of you building your relationship. But one thing that I did learn, and I said this probably in a video earlier, and I probably didn't come back to it, and I apologize, but I like listening to older people, married couples especially, and their advice, and I always did that. And one of the advice that I had gotten from one of my mom's clients when she used to do hair, this was a client childhood, she knew us as kids because they used to be our neighbors when we first moved to Salisbury or whatever. But one of the things that she told me was when she heard that I was married, that I had got married and whatever, and she was in my mom's beauty shop that day, and she was talking to me, and my mom had like a beauty shop attached to the house at one point. And she was like, one thing about it, one thing that you have to do as a woman is make sure that you always let your husband know what your expectation is. Like, you can't let something slide that you don't want to happen in your relationship, because what he's gonna take it as is you were okay with it then, so you should be okay with it now. So that's kind of what it is. You need to set your clothes due to Power outage. I was thinking it looked like the power was out. Damn it. Okay. Store 646 4 store. Oh, 6-4 store is open. I guess they say. I don't know what that means, but I guess that's another store somewhere. They saying it's open. Oh well, I'll catch y'all, I guess, tomorrow, the next day. But anyway, yeah, and she said that, and it makes a lot of sense. She was like, you have to, set your expectations so that it's clear. And that's one thing I did learn from being married, is that is so true. If you don't let a man know, kind of what you expect, or if you don't make it clear to him that this bothered you, okay, you did XYZ. If you don't make it clear that it bothered you, then they're going to do it again. Why? Because you didn't make it clear that it bothered you, so they feel like it didn't bother them. Communication. You have to be able to communicate with one another. Sorry. This phone just tripping. I mean, this is a mess. Whatever. Something will come up and then it'll take over the screen. But you have to, let it be clear what you were willing to accept and what have you. But you also, like I said, you have to respect a man. Like, you can't challenge a man's manhood and think that y'all are going to be happy-go-lucky. A man will hold on to that longer than he'll hold on to a lot of other things. Challenging his manhood, if I can give y'all any advice, women out there that's looking for a relationship, that's in a relationship, if I can give you any advice, it will be, do not challenge your man's manhood. That is so hurtful to a man, so disrespectful. That's something you should never do. Don't challenge his manhood. If you feel like there's something he's doing and you got a concern with it, have a conversation with him in private. And that's the biggest thing. In private is always the best way to do that. Don't sit and try to, because a man, if you challenge him in public, then that looks like you just totally have no respect for your husband, and other people see that as well. And if you don't have respect for your husband, then how do you expect anybody else to have respect for them? So that's that. I mean, that's that. A man should be able to lead his household. Now, he has to, lead it correctly. I'm not giving a pass as far as just let him lead the house and then he gonna lead the house into damn financial strain or into homelessness or something. I'm not saying that. I'm saying allow him to be the man, as as long as he's making good decisions, making the right choices. If he's doing something and you feel like hey, this is something, no, this ain't gonna be good for the family or whatever, that's a conversation y'all need to have. And then based on that, you have to determine from there, what do you do with it. But as long as he's doing right by you and the household, then you have to give him the opportunity to be the man. And that is one thing that's missing in a lot of relationships nowadays, is that too many women want to be the man and the woman. And that's not good. And it's not gonna lead to anything good in terms of that relationship. It's just not, because no man wants to feel like he can't be a man. That every decision that he makes is going to be scrutinized or challenged by his wife or girlfriend. No man wants that. I say fiance, maybe. I would say wife. I'm speaking more probably of wife, if you're wanting to be a wife, because girlfriends, that's kind of, a girl, you know, if you a girlfriend, you a girlfriend. I can't really say you put, but you got to start out as you start out as a girlfriend, so the respect has to be there. But most of the time, the problem don't come in the dating, you know, if it's a lot of times, you know. Now, yeah, it does. I mean, it does, yes, but when you dating somebody, a lot of times people putting on that front. That's why you got to be with people long enough to get past that, where they can't be fake anymore. Because, honey, a lot of times, a lot of that disrespect don't start till you done got married. So you gotta, you know, be mindful of that. But yeah, I think that women need to try to, you know, if you want to be with that man, you're gonna have to respect him as the man. If you see that he's not able to be the man, then that's a different, you know, conversation or a different decision you need to make for yourself. But if you're going to be with him, you got to let him be the man, you know. Just like you want to be the South female or whatever, you can't be the South female if you're still trying to be the man in the relationship. You know, it just is not going to work. So... yeah, that's just my opinion on that, my thoughts on that. I hope it was helpful to someone. We can further discuss this. This is a topic it's a big topic, you know, from what I can tell, you know, it seems to be an issue. But that was just my kind of 2 cents on it. But please feel free to leave your thoughts, comments down in the description box. You know, we can have a conversation, of course. Like I always say, keep it cute, keep it classy. We can agree to disagree on a mature level, and yeah, and that is what it is. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'm not recording another one today. There's been 3 today. But anyway, I hope y'all have enjoyed these little conversations. And yeah, if y'all seem to be enjoying them, then I'll keep them coming. Yeah, I'll try to keep them coming. I'll keep looking for topics and we'll have conversations. But I like talking about marriage and relationships because like I said, I'm a sucker for love. I love love. I love relationships. I love black love. And my husband and I, that's what we were. We were black love. And so yeah, if I can help anyone be that, you know, or get that, experience love like that, you know, I'm here for that. I would love to, you know, kind of help you, maybe give you some, you know, just some information, or, you know, just some tips or whatever that I've learned over the years, things that I had to improve on to make my relationship better, things that, you know, I don't agree with in relationships, you know, whatever. I can talk to you guys about that if you like. I don't know if I've said, but my husband and I were together for 16 years. So I do feel like I kind of got a little bit I can offer in terms of, you know, things that you can, I guess, you know, advice on relationships, marriage, that type of thing. But anywho, I'm going to get off here. I'm hot. I'm going to cut my air on right quick. I'm about to get out and run to the grocery store. But yeah, I've enjoyed having these conversations, and I'm open to doing more of them, you know, if you guys are interested. But anywho, let me get off of here. I'm going to try to do a cooking video tonight. I'm going to make something quick and easy, but it may be something some of y'all might be interested in. It's not the most healthy meal, but it's also not the most unhealthy meal. But it's still in my little window of things I can eat. I just don't need to eat a lot of it. But anywho, let me run in here and grab this stuff so I can get home and cook and make me some more soap for my event on Sunday. And I will talk to you guys later. All right, bye.